remember? Okay, I'll give you a little summary. It's been a little while. So, uh, Mikkel started sitting next to him, and she showed him her ability to write, like come up with cool rhymes and raps and stuff. And yeah, so she told him that someone had challenged her to show her rhymes to a new friend, and um, showed him like her really cool talent. And uh, yeah, so and he kept thinking that she was gonna bully him and make fun of him or something, and he never did, or she never did. So he's like, could she be a friend or something like that? But anyway, so chapter 5, Grandma and Grandpa. You know, Flint, Grandpa said, digging his spoon into his bowl of oatmeal, back in 2005, Dion Branch, a wide receiver of the New England Patriots, came back from an injury to help get his team to the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is the only game as great as he turned to the University of Nebraska football calendar on the wall. Any game played by our Huskers in Memorial Stadium. He nodded proudly. Go Big Red, he chanted, almost like he was in the bleachers at a game. Grandpa was a sturdy man with a good-sized gut, and hairy. His hair was long, and he had a 6-inch brown and gray beard. As short and thin as I was, it was hard to believe I came from the same gene pool. Of course, I couldn't see him that well. Do you know what Dion did the night before the big game? Grandpa asked. Grandpa worked at Jaden's Hardware, but he loved football with a capital L. He had played in college, helped with the high school team for a few years, and had been a little league football coach for decades. He had even coached me before my eyes went bad. Grandpa Rule. He has a story for everything, and most of them are about football. Yep, I said, you've told me this one before, and that was the only way I would know it. Why else would I care about some old Super Bowl? I spooned more oatmeal into my mouth. Grandma always had it ready in the morning, or eggs, or fried potatoes. We had to leave soon. But my comment didn't stop Grandpa. He was like one of the teachers at school that asks if they've told a story before, but even if they have, they're not going to stop telling it. Lots of other players are going out gambling or chasing girls, but not Dion. He moved his spoon around while he spoke. I know, I interrupted. He called all of his coaches to thank them. I figured we should cut to the point. That's right, Grandpa said, then turned to Grandma. See, he does listen. But does he? Grandma asked, raising one eyebrow. She was barely 5 feet tall, slender, and always wearing makeup. If it wasn't for those times when we went swimming, I would swear her face always looked like that. My grandparents had raised me my whole life. My mom, their daughter, wasn't really good at taking care of herself, let alone another person. And I've never met my dad, so 60-year-old parents it was. The day before the Super Bowl, Dion called his Pee Wee League coaches, Grandpa continued, pointing at me with his spoon, his high school coaches, his college coaches. He told them thank you for making him work hard, for believing in him, for helping him improve. He set his spoon down and leaned back in his chair. And then he went out on the field the next day and caught 11 passes, Grandpa mimicked, catching a pass. That was a tie for a Super Bowl record. The Patriots won, and he was MVP of the game. Grandpa Rule. All of his football stories are longer than they should be. Okay, I said, taking another bite. I get it. He's a great guy. Grandma looked at Grandpa. He's not getting it, she said, shaking her head. Grandpa cleared his throat, pointed at me, then the food, then Grandma. Oh, I suddenly realized what he meant. Thanks for breakfast, I said to Grandma. Grandma laughed and shook her head. Your sincerity is truly inspiring. I glanced back over at Grandpa. Wouldn't it have been a little shorter if you just asked me to say thank you? It would have been a lot shorter if you learned to say thank you in the first place, Grandpa said, his long beard wagging as he spoke. That's why you've heard this story so often. I took another bite of breakfast. When was the last time you wore your contacts, Grandma asked. I tried to put them in this morning, I said, but it hurt so bad I took them back out. They're like putting sandpaper on my eyes. I hated my hard contacts so much I only wore them for a few hours every couple of months so that I could tell the doctor that I'd tried and I could pretend that we hadn't wasted my grandparents' money on them. Well, thanks for trying, she said. Try again in a day or two. They're supposed to help. Because my corneas were thin, Grandma was always worried and followed up with me. Plus, she was afraid someone would bump into my eyes and bust them. That's why I didn't play sports anymore. Well, that and I couldn't see the ball that great even with glasses. Keratoconus really isn't the kind of problem that can be fixed with glasses, but they're better than nothing. I shoved another spoonful of oatmeal in my mouth, but a weird tingle started in my right eye as I chewed. It wasn't too painful, but it didn't feel good either. I pinched my eyes shut. I'm sure it was because I'd tried to wear my scratchy contacts, but nothing really new. My eyes just hurt sometimes. How's school? Grandpa asked. Boring, I said. I never really told them about Gavin or the others. No use bothering them. Plus, Grandpa might go tackle Gavin right in the middle of school, and Grandma would call all of their mothers and give them a talking to. That would be both kind of amazing and kind of terrible at the same time. More terrible than amazing, except the tackle. That would be more amazing than terrible. And the comic? Grandma asked. Really good, I said. I think I should get it done on time. I made sure not to rub my eye. I didn't want Grandma seeing it irritated. She might freak out. Maybe she'd make me wear goggles to school for protection, or worse, one of those helmets welders use. Did you walk the Hulk yesterday, like I asked? She asked, changing the subject. Yep, I said, even though I knew I hadn't. I'd named our bulldog the Hulk. Both he and the comic book character are strong and grumpy and gamma ray monsters. I'm not sure about the last one, but probably. Grandma rolled her eyes. Are you trying to sell me a screen door for my submarine? That was Grandma's way of saying that she doesn't believe me. Being raised in the South made her hard to understand sometimes. Okay, I said, giving in. I haven't. Flint, she let out a sigh. You've got to do your share around here, and you're going to drive us all into a tizzy. I didn't say anything. Maybe if I didn't answer, my chore would just kind of fade away. I still had to work on my comic. Did you know Coach Tom Osborne had a degree in educational philosophy? Grandpa asked. And he used to say, fine, I said. I'll do it right after school. If we were being attacked by a ruthless band of zombie ninjas with death guns, I swear my grandparents would still be concerned about whether I had done my chores or not. Then again, if zombie ninjas were attacking, being the Hulk wouldn't be a bad idea, especially if he really was a gamma ray monster. The bird clock on the wall chirped Eastern Bluebird. 12 birds for 12 hours. An Eastern Bluebird meant it was 7 a.m. We'd better go or we'll be late, Grandma said. Another tingle went through my right eye, this one a little stronger. It hurt like a pinch. I must have winced because Grandma asked, Are you okay? Yeah, I said, hoping I wasn't lying. That's the end of chapter 5.